Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ecclesiastes, the second chapter. I said in mine heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth. So go to now is like, take heed, right? Like listen up. I will prove thee with mirth. So so Solomon saying, okay, I'm going to test you, right? And with mirth, mirth is like joy, laughter, pleasure. Therefore enjoy pleasure. And behold, this also is vanity. So when he went and basically started to do the things that would bring, joy and pleasure, and really went all the way into it, he found out, yeah, it's fun in the moment, but at the end of the day, it's still all vanity. It's still pointless. It doesn't bring eternal satisfaction. I said of laughter, it is mad, and of mirth, what doeth it? So let's read these two here in the NLT. It says, I said to myself, come on, let's try pleasure. Let's look for the good things in life. But I found that this too was meaningless. Verse 2, so I said, laughter is silly. What good does it do to seek pleasure? I sought, verse 3, in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. So he's saying, okay, I got into drinking wine, right, to see, okay, what is that going to be like? Right, NLT, after much thought, I decided to cheer myself with wine. And while seeking wisdom, I clutched at foolishness. In this way, I tried to experience the only happiness most people find during their brief life in this world. So he's kind of like, in comparison to the larger scale of things and the things, we have a short temporary moment here on earth. Our life is like a breath that is there, and then quickly, just as quickly as it's there, it's gone. And the things that we have for satisfaction are but these. That's all vain. If this is all you're put on the earth to do, then what's the point? I made me great works, I builded me houses, I planted me vineyards. Because he had the means to, right? He was a king. He had the power, he had the money. I made me gardens and orchards. I planted trees in them of all kind of fruits. I made me pools of water to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. So he built houses, right? He made, let's go into these. I think these are going into like wells or cisterns. But let's see. Okay, reservoir. Right, I built reservoirs to collect the water to irrigate my many flourishing groves, right, which are his trees. Verse 7, I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also, I had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were in Jerusalem before me. So he's saying, look, when it comes to, there are people who work their life. They work in their life to gain riches so they can, they can live a comfortable life. They can have servants, right? They can have great possessions. They can have cattle. They can, they can do these things. I did it, and I did it to the extreme because I had the means to. I gathered me also silver and gold and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. So all the precious things within my domain, I went and got for myself. I got me men singers and women singers. Now remember, these are all things that will bring about joy, right? Mirth. And the delights of the sons of men, which the delights of the sons of men is women, right? Concubines, basically a harem. As musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So he had, live entertainment. He had women. He had all the things that would make a man happy. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. So whatever it is that he saw, he liked, he went and got. I withheld not my heart from any joy. For my heart, which is his heart is your mind, right? When you go into that Hebrew word in the lab, it's your mind, right? So as he says here, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Okay, what that means is in all the things that he did, right, and in having this and having that and trying this out and doing all that, his heart rejoiced in his labor. That is, if him, the process of him actually doing all of these things, but that was his portion of all his labor. So the only real payoff that he got from all that hard work and the labor and the pleasures that we just read about was the temporary enjoyment he felt while doing it. Okay, that was his portion. That was what he got out of it. That's it. And that's the same with us, right? Like you have a gathering or a get together, or you may do something fun, go out. And really all you get from it is the fun you have in the moment. But then you start to think, damn, I got work tomorrow. Or damn, it's getting late, I gotta go back home, or I gotta go and do this. Then it's like you go home, the next day happens, you're at work, and it seems like that vacation you took never happened. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do. And behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit. See, and there was no profit under the sun. So after experiencing all the joy and the mirth and the pleasures that we just read about, he said at the end of the day, it all was just pointless. It was all like chasing the wind. There was no profit, there was no permanent, there's no actual fulfillment from it, just the temporary joy. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that cometh after the king? Even that which hath already been done. Meaning that who can do it better than the king? If it's to get into folly or pleasures. NLT says, so I decided to compare wisdom and foolishness and with foolishness and madness. For who can do this better than I, the king? That's what it means, that by what can the man do that cometh after the king, even that which hath already been done? Because if Solomon decided, I want to try this out, and you came after him, there's nothing that you're going to do that he hasn't already tried, especially with all the means that he has. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. So he said here, I would compare, wisdom and folly. And here he saw that wisdom far, exceeds or triumphs over folly, just as light far exceeds or triumphs over darkness. The wise man's eyes are, like, for example, with light has to leave in order for darkness to come in. But when light makes its appearance, darkness is gone. Okay, so darkness is the absence of light, and light is the absence of darkness, but the relationship is slightly different there. So it says here, because for example, if the sun never went down, then the night wouldn't come. But if the sun pulled up and it was dark, it would immediately turn light. Darkness can't do anything against light. Darkness has to wait for the light to leave or to be put out before it can take over. That's why he makes this comparison about light excelling darkness. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I perceive myself also that one event happeneth to them all. When it says his eyes are in his head, let's read that here. It says here, for the wise can see where they're going, but fools walk in the dark. Yet I saw that the wise and the foolish share the same fate. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you can be the wisest man on earth, or you can be the dumbest fool on the planet. Either way, you're all going to suffer the same kind of mortal death. Not that you're going to die the same way, but you're all still going to die at the end of the day. And what happens after that? Your all the wisdom that you had, it won't be different, and when you're in the grave and you're 6 feet under. Likewise, all the folly this person did, they're also going to be in the grave and 6 feet under. Verse 15, then said I in my heart, as it happeneth to the fool, so it happeneth even to me. And why was I then more wise? Then I said in my heart, this also is vanity. So if I'll die, just like a fool dies, I'm eventually also going to die, regardless of my status, my rank, my wisdom. So what was the point in having more wisdom than this person? I'm going to die, and somebody else is going to come and take my place. Just like this person who doesn't have wisdom is going to die, and somebody's going to come and take his place, and he's going to be forgotten. So that's why he said, this is also vanity. For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. Eventually, you're all forgotten. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall all be forgotten, right? So that which now is, what's alive and exists now in the present, in the days to come shall be forgotten. And when the historical accounts we have now, right, excluding the Bible, when you deal with, say, like accounts of other historians, it's really few that we have that exist. But do you think that, in the world at that time, it was only the few main names that we know today? Philo and Tacitus and Xenophon and all these other writings. There's a lot more that existed at their time, a whole lot. Look at the world today. There are a lot of philosophers, writers, authors, but only a handful survived because of their work that was found. The rest, regardless of how wise they were, they're forgotten. We don't even know about some of these people. And there are probably some that were wiser than those that we do know of historically. But, that's Solomon's point. And how dieth the wise man as the fool? So he has a lot more wisdom, right? He lives a more, say, just life. That is, in expressing wisdom, he is labored, and yet he dies, and he's also forgotten. A fool who doesn't really live a smart life, he also dies, and he's also forgotten. Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. For all is vanity and vexation of spirit. So he's saying that I saw no point in life. All right, because everything, when it says all that is wrought, that's all the work that's done under the sun, that's on the earth, is grievous unto me. Not necessarily the nature of the work itself, but the fact that it's temporary. For all is vanity and vexation of spirit. It's pointless, it's temporary. It's like playing a video game that does not save. And you you may get to like the highest level, and somebody else may get to only level 1. But guess what? At the end of the day, once you turn off that console, it's as though you hadn't played it, because the next time you come back, whether you got to level 5, 6, or 7, it's not going to be saved. And just like that person who got only to level 2, it's not going to be saved. You both start at square one. So Solomon's like, well, in that case, why should you, train so hard and bust your ass to get good at this game? It's not going to, your score won't look any different than his. Verse 18, yea, I hated my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that should be after me. So all the work that he's done, all the riches that he's accumulated and all of that, he's doing that, but once he dies, it's going to somebody else. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? yet shall he have rule over all my labor. So regardless, whether he's a complete, dimwit, or whether he's a wise man deserving of these, he's just going to inherit it. That makes no difference, right? The things that I had to work very hard for, wherein I have labored and wherein I have shewed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Because he's saying, like, so what's the point of me laboring so hard just for somebody else to come in and reap the benefits of my hard work? Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. It says here in the NLT, so I gave up in despair, questioning the value of all my hard work in this world. For there is verse 21, for there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in equity. Yet to a man that hath not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. Yeah, so you have one that works hard. They they study, they gain wisdom, they gain knowledge, right? They labor in being equitous. And yet they're gonna do all that and leave all the things they've gained, whether it's actual knowledge that they wrote down and stored in books or whatnot, or riches that were gained, or even dominion. They're gonna leave it, as it says, he's gonna leave there. Yet to a man that hath not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. So somebody who hasn't worked to earn it, they're still gonna inherit it. This also is vanity and a great evil. For what hath man of all his labor, and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? So what's the actual benefit that you gain for all the hard work that you do living in this life? For all his days are sorrow, or sorrows, and his travail grief, meaning your hard work. You're constantly working, you're travailing, you're stressed out. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. So he's describing the hard labor that men do to live. It says their days of labor are filled with pain and grief. Even at night, their minds cannot rest. It is all meaningless. There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw, that it was from the hand of God. So Solomon's saying, so at this point, you working your ass off, you're struggling hard, you're doing all this. You're going to leave it to somebody who is not done half the labor you've done, and they're just going to enjoy it. So the best you can do at this point is just enjoy the simple things that God gives you, right? Food, daily work, just small enjoyable things, because that ability to enjoy these things is a gift from God. For who can eat, or who else can hasten hereunto more than I? Right? So as he's saying, right, who can experience these things better than I can? Right? Who can eat or enjoy anything apart from him? NKJV, for who can eat or who can have enjoyment more than I? Verse 26, for God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom, and knowledge and joy, but to the sinner he giveth travail, to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit. Reading that in the NLT, it says, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy to those who please him. But if a sinner becomes wealthy, God takes the wealth away and gives it to those who please him. This too is meaningless, like chasing the wind, because even though he's a sinner, right, all the stuff that they did to become wealthy, eventually that's just going to be taken away from them and given to somebody else. So it was kind of like saying, it's pointless. Imagine working really, really, really hard, extremely difficult for something, just for somebody to come and take it away. Then you're like, damn, what was the whole point of doing all that? And that brings us to the end of the book of Ecclesiastes, the 2nd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.